who gives you the ability to produce wealth and so confirms his covenant, which he swore to your forefathers as it is today. See, it is God. Our wealth and the things that we have multiply because of him. Not because of our own cleverness, so we are able to buy property that multiplies quickly or get a good return on investment stocks and things like that. It is not our ability to buy low, sell high, but it is God giving us these gifts of intelligence, discernment that enable us to turn these things and make a profit. That's why we must render all praise and honor to God for all the things that we have. No, we don't pat ourselves on our back and say, wow, well done you. See how clever you are to get so much of these things. And that's why, I think as a life slogan for all of us, as we prosper, it is good to have this, remember the giver of the good things as your life slogan. So I've put a biblical foundation first because I think it's very important. In life, I always believe this, the answers are found in the Bible. So we must look to the Bible to form our theology, right? The biblical foundation. And so we have looked at this biblical foundation of how to handle wealth and prosperity. Two things, just one thing to remember very clearly. Do not boast about your accumulation of wealth and material things that you have. Because why? God has given them to you. That is the thing. The challenge then is how do we apply this thought in our life as a foundation. Now you may think, right, okay, hey, Pastor Liu, you are referring to wealth. I'm not rich. I am not rich. And maybe you think like that. My answer to you is don't think of wealth in terms of millions of dollars, accumulated, living a flashy lifestyle, wearing branded goods, having a nice mansion, all that. Yeah, that is wealth. No, but sometimes I think that it can also be called as obscene wealth. If you have a steady job that gives you opportunities for advancement, you are able to save for retirement, and you have your daily needs of food, clothing, and housing met, you are already more wealthy than many, many people here in this world. See, knowing this then, what is our attitude towards money? I think we should think of money in terms of stewardship, not ownership. See, stewardship, later you can explore among yourself what do you mean by stewardship, right? Stewardship actually reveals how the heart thinks, right? Is the money money, or does it really belong to God? The world may be very impressed when you have a fat bank account. Let me say this, God isn't very impressed by all these bank accounts and all that. Because why? He owns the whole world. That's why he said, the whole earth is mine. And Jesus said this, Jesus said, watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. A man's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions. Your life is not defined by how much you have. Some people will say, they will say, yeah, but Pastor Liu, money cannot make a person spiritual. Yes, I agree. But money can reveal our spiritual priorities, where our heart is inclined to. That's why Jesus said in Matthew 6:21, he said, what? Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So stewardship is the thing. And so when we think about stewardship, we must also maybe look at the Bible again to teach us what is responsible stewardship. And overall, today I thought I'd share with you 3 principles of stewardship, that we can follow. Firstly, I think we need to be faithful in our work. That's very important. Be faithful in your work. Let's look at Genesis chapter 2. What does it tell us? The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and to take care of it. See, after God created Adam, he didn't let Adam sleep the whole day, 14, 16 hours a day and all that. He put him in the Garden of Eden and he put Adam to work. So a strong attitude towards work actually is a biblical attitude. We must have a good work ethic. And that is very biblical. How we work actually, I strongly believe, how we work actually determines how we truly honor Christ in our life. See, a good Christian is not a lazy Christian. Look at Ephesians chapter 6 verse 5. What does it say? Slaves, imagine, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear and with sincerity of heart, just as you would obey Christ. See, slaves, even slaves are told to obey their masters. See, when we work hard for our boss, taking in our modern day context today as we are employees, when we work hard for our boss, we are actually working for Jesus Christ, who is our ultimate boss. Then later in 1 Thessalonians 4:12, Paul stresses this, that Christians must lead a quiet life, mind our own business, and to work with our hands. See, again, work. So that why? Our daily life will win the respect of outsiders. And so that why? We will not be dependent on anybody. We can take care of ourselves. See, hard work gains us a good testimony. And people will respect our faith. See, when we are diligent in our work, we actually can open many doors for us. Right? We can share the gospel because people will respect us and say, wow, you're a good worker. Can I know why? What drives you to be willing to work so hard? And I also believe that hard work will gain the respect of our bosses. And when they respect us, they trust us, what happens? We become upwardly mobile. Now, of course, when I say all these things, when I say hard work, I'm not saying that, you must work 16 hours a day, forget your families, forget your faith, forget your walk with God and all that. There is a fine balance. You must also set aside time to spend with God and with your family. But when you are in the office, when you are at your workplace, work hard. When I started work at the Helping Hand, when I was in the program, they put me as like a helper, they call it 250 a month. 250 a month. And then after that, when I finished my program, after 8 months, I started work as a staff. I was getting $500 a month. As also still an office helper, Now, I like to think, pardon me if I sound like I'm boasting, but I like to think that I am a hard worker, I try to be, maybe now I slow down because I'm getting old, but I like to think that I'm a hard worker. After 2 years, I became the head of the office. Then I became the administrator. I oversaw all the financial matters and admin matters. And later, I was also promoted to executive director. And after that, of course, I left on to other things. See, I believe the Bible does teach this, that working hard will benefit us. And I look at all of you, I don't think many of you had rich grandparents, right? I don't think so. I know most of your parents did not come from prosperous families. But you see what happened? They worked hard, they invested their lives and what they earned, and in time they prospered. And there is nothing wrong with that. Working hard to become prosperous. And I think this is a general rule of life that all of us must remember, even as Christians. Productiveness produces prosperity, but laziness produces poverty. Even for those of you who are in school today, my recommendation is this: work hard at your studies. Do your best. And Proverbs suggests this view, that prosperity is the fruit of productiveness. But sloth will produce poverty. Laziness, that is, will produce poverty. That's why Proverbs 14:23 tells us, all hard work brings a profit, but mere talk, talk leads to what? Poverty. Then how about, look at Proverbs chapter 6, verse 10 and 11. How about this? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a bandit, and scarcity like an armed man. In fact, Proverbs warns us against thinking that there is an easy way to become rich. In Proverbs 28:19 to 20, we are told, he who works his land will have abundant food, but the one who chases fantasies will have his fill of poverty. A faithful man will be richly blessed, but one eager to get rich will go unpunished. So that's why important. Work hard, avoid get rich quick plans. Things like those pyramid schemes, gambling, and things like that. Avoid all those things. Work hard. And I can say one thing for sure. We will not face financial hardship if we are willing to work hard. So, we go on to the next point. So we work hard. And the next step is, of course, careful planning in what you do with your money. See, you can ask your parents. I think your parents can give you better counsel on how they manage to provide for the lifestyle you have today. I am sure they all were very prudent people with their financial planning because they are sensible people. So today, let me share with you how you can be careful in your planning. Let me share with you 4 principles. Alright? Firstly, avoid overconsumption. That's why I call it overconsumption. I read in an article, in fact many articles, right, that today's younger adults, they tend to spend and splurge on branded items, fine dining, and expensive holidays. Now, I'm not saying that you must refrain from all these things, I like to go for holidays too, I save towards it. Right? So we are not to refrain totally. But it must always be balanced by savings and planning for the future. Don't spend all the money that we have on consumer items every month. What I do every month, when I get my salary, I set aside 10% of my salary. That is the first part of the tithe to the church, that one for sure. Then I save another 10%. This 10% I save is towards things like, future holidays, replacement of some of the houseware things like aircon, refrigerators, and things like that. Then after that, I set aside 20%. I intentionally set aside 20% of my salary as savings towards retirement. Then the balance I use to pay for the other things like my monthly football channel, my daily food, what I eat, my clothes, the accessories I buy, sometimes the things I like to do, the books I read, maybe I think of something nice that I want to buy, I buy, and things like that, right? And of course, part of it also is goes towards, sometimes people have, I meet people who fall on hard times, right? And we help them out as well, I help them out as well. So sometimes in doing all these things, saving, tithing, helping people, caring for my own needs and all that. Sometimes it's true. I incur deficit. Can't be helped because sometimes you meet certain people, they need some money. You just have to give it to them. Right? But I always try to recover the red ink over the next month or over the next following months. That's why, so in that way, over a long term, let's say over a year or so, or let me put it this way, on a year's average, I live within my monthly salary, right? And still am able to give to God, save for big ticket items, and save for my retirement. See, I don't spend all my salary at the earliest opportunity, like some people do. But what's still in this life, there are people who don't just spend all their money, they spend more than they earn. Right? And what happens? They end up with a crippling debt. The Bible calls us actually to live within our means. Proverbs 22 verse 7 tells us this. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. See, never owe anyone money to the extent where they control your life. I say this because maybe I have been caught in situations like that. Where I used to live on the streets, and I get in very desperate situations. And when you owe people money, they practically own your life. They control you. Today, because of easy credit, that is what happens, right? People spend money they don't have, and then what happens? They roll over their debts. And what do? They pay only the minimum sum on their debt every month. That's how they do it. They roll over. But be very careful, because why? When that happens, the interest snowballs. and then they become slaves to the credit card companies. You know, they have hold on your salaries. So much must go to them every month. Or worse still, they bankrupt you. Spend carefully. I always believe in that. Spend carefully. Pay your credit card bills on time, no? And don't take all these easy credit. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you should think for yourself. But I don't believe it. Every now and then I get this. Oh, Mr. Liu, you know, we have this easy credit term. You can just sign. Just tell them, sorry, I live within my means. I'm a very simple man. See, we don't indulge in overconsumption. If you do that, that is a very good step, right? Towards not just living on the edge, but actually prospering. Secondly, I think we should avoid guaranteeing other people's debts. I mean, I don't know what to say. Maybe this sounds a bit heartless, no? So, hey, you say no, don't guarantee other people's debt, but you say you're willing to help other people at the same time. I know it sounds heartless, no? But I think don't guarantee other people's debts unless you are willing to lose the money that you are going to guarantee. Maybe that's the best way to put it, no? Guarantee the debt if you are willing to lose the money. But I honestly think Christians should not be responsible and accountable for the debts of others. You know, it's fine if the person in need is like maybe a family member, someone you love, you trust. That's a different thing, because if it's a family member and I guarantee that whatever the guarantee holds for, I am prepared to lose the money because this is my family member. It's okay. It's the same as giving to the family member. We do it out of love. But other than that, be careful. Don't anyhow stand guarantee for others. You know, in fact, I was surprised that actually the Bible does address this matter about being putting up security for others. No? You look at Proverbs chapter 6, verse 1 to 5. I will read it to you. Okay, you don't have to turn. Proverbs chapter 6, verse 1 to 5 tells us this. If you have put up security for your neighbor, if you have struck hands in pledge for another, if you have been trapped by what you said and snared by the words of your mouth, then do this, my son, to free yourself, since you have fallen into your neighbor's hands. What does he do? He says, go and humble yourself, press your plea with your neighbor, allow no sleep to your eyes, no slumber to your eyelids. Free yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, like a bird from the snare of the fowler. See, what is he saying? If you are liable for someone's debts, be quick about delivering yourself from this obligation. Think of it, be quick about it, and be desperate enough to think about it as though like a bird needs to be delivered from a trap. That is the same thing. That is the same way you also need to be delivered. And what is he saying? Do it quickly, Don't think of sleeping or resting and all these things. Do it quickly, even if you have to deprive yourself of sleep. Why do I say this? Always remember this, that there are two risks involved when we guarantee the debts of others. Firstly, if the borrower defaults on the loan, your relationship is destroyed, ruined, that's for sure. Because why? We find it very hard to talk to one another. You will even find it very hard to even look at the other person in the face. No, I have actually seen family members quarrel because of this, loan defaults. Secondly, you will face financial hardship. I have been asked to do this at times, and I always tell people honestly, sorry, I'm a pastor, how much money do you think I make? I can't afford to guarantee that kind of money, right? Then they will often say, don't worry lah, you won't lose anything, you just need to guarantee only, I'm not asking you to come out your money. Then I will also say the same thing, I will say another thing. And this is a trick maybe you can learn. I will say, sorry, my wife and I, we consult on all these matters about loans and guarantees for other people, Because why? Both our lives are affected when these things go wrong. So I'm very sure she would disagree with this. Then what I do is, of course, it's not nice to just brush people off. Sometimes I will take out some money from my pocket, just give whatever sum I can afford. Give it as a gift, rather than, sign as a guarantee because you say, you don't know what to do and all that. I think be very, very careful when you sign guarantees for other people. Okay? The next point is avoid fraudulence, avoid fraud. See, you need to